Welcome to the podcast. This is Big Reptile Talk, the place where I want people to be able to come, get a little knowledge, have a little fun. We hang out with amazing people in the hobby. Before we start, I want to give a shout out to Venom Proof Cages, amazing cages. Make sure you go check them out. And of course, Aussie Boys, amazing, two amazing supporters of the channel. So let's go ahead and get started. And today we're going to take a plane. I'm taking you guys to Canada. We're going to talk to a heavy hitter from Canada. His name is Christian. His company is Morph Endorphins. So I'm super excited about this one. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Before we bring him in, we'll show a couple comments. What's up, Flex and Pythons? What's up, Carrot Shay? What's up, DG? What's up, Genetic Institute? Much love from Canada, man. We got Canada in the building, man. So let's go ahead and bring my guy in. Bam, there he is, Mr.
Hi, Derek.
Christian. How you doing today, boss?
Good, thanks. How are you doing? Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Not too bad. Excited to have you on, man, because you're doing some incredible stuff.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I love that. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. And man, first off, man, talk to me about that name, man. Morph Endorphins. How did you come up with that?
Oh, I was coming back from a cottage, and I had a couple dozen snakes at the time, maybe more, and I just wanted something that was kind of catchy, that kind of flowed, and the morph part obviously is it's what I do. It's like I love the genetic mutations and crossing them, and it's all about the morphs here. Even with boas, I have a lot of boas, and that's I don't have any of the locale stuff. It's all mutations and morphs. So obviously that was a big part of it, and then of course the endorphins, just the things that rush into your brain and make you feel good, right? So just on the way home, it just kind of from the cottage just clicked, and it was just, I got to go with that. And so I had to do the Google search to make sure it wasn't taken by anybody, and nothing came up. I registered the business, nothing came up, and I'm like, woo, all right, I'll take it. Sold. So
right.
Yeah.
I love that. How many years have you been breeding, man?
So I bought my first snakes in 2007 and started breeding in 2010 was my first season. So going on into our 12th season here now. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's incredible, man. 12 years of breeding. I know that you're real heavy on the ball python side, but you don't just breed ball python. Can you talk about some of the stuff that you're working on right now, breeding wise?
Sure. Yeah. So I started with boas. At the time, the ball python stuff was crazy, as it is now. It was, there wasn't a lot of people at the time working with boas, and I just thought, you know what, this is so cool, all these genetic mutations. I want to do that with boas and basically do the same thing. And I think people are going to want to, I being new into the hobby at the time, I'm thinking people are going to get tired of ball pythons and they're going to want something bigger and better. And I just love boas. I love their personalities, and there wasn't a lot of color mutations or pattern mutations back then to work with. But I just, and as much as I love boas, I have to say I was wrong about that. The ball python world is just crazy and just exploded since then. And so I actually got hooked on ball pythons as well, and basically just kept them both going, just trying to see where we can get to. And still, I just love the contrast between the boa constrictor and the ball python, and the live birth, the eggs, and I'm totally hooked into both. So it's I think in reality most people can keep where I have 6 boas, you can keep 40 ball pythons in the same size rack, right? So ball pythons are practical. The colors and the patterns are just phenomenal. It's miles and miles ahead of anything else as far as genetic mutations. They're easy to keep, they're easy to breed, and ball pythons, aren't going anywhere. But I also just love the contrast and love the boa constrictors, their personalities. It's just, and it's fun to do both. Why limit yourself?
Right, right, right. You gotta keep that backup plan, man. Now,
Right.
you
Yeah.
you got a lot of tubs behind you, man. So I gotta ask you, man, your collection. How many animals we sitting at right now?
I have about 400 of my own, and maybe upwards of maybe 100 babies for sale. I've partnered with Tim Eisel in Germany, who would be comparable to Justin on the world stage as far as what he does, what Justin does with ball pythons, Tim does with boas. So he sent me some stuff to sell into Canada, just some phenomenal animals that are just incredible and crazy looking, and I don't want to sell any of them actually, but so some of them are his. I've got about 15 of his animals at the moment, and then the rest of it's my stuff. So
Right, right, right.
yeah.
We got an audience question, man. Shout out to DG Reptiles. He wants to know, is it true you can only put one male to one female boa, like the male won't breed with another female?
The true part of that is you don't cycle a male boa through several females. So yes, that's true. But if a male gets the job done in a short period of time, some people have moved that male on to the next female, and he sired 2 litters in that same season. I did that this year, and it resulted. That was the first time I've done that. I got a good litter from the first, and the second litter slugged out, which is it's a common problem. So I don't know if he was just spent by the time he moved on to the second female, or if sometimes the females just, that's all up to them, right? So you can only control so much, but typically, yes, that's correct. One male to one female.
Right. Now with the ball pythons, what do you think? What's currently right now? What's your favorite morph?
I love Ultramel. As far as recessives go, I love Ultramel. I love where that project's going. I just can't get enough of it. And, it takes a while to build your collection. And I produce my own hats and buy the odd thing along the way. But I just can't get enough of it. But Pieds, Clowns, and of course, Desert Ghost is something I've added recently, which is just incredible. And everybody should have Desert Ghost in their collection as well. And I like to be diverse and not just specialize in one mutation. But if I can mix an Ultramel in with Clowns and in with Pies and then add some code dominance, I picked up a Acid Firefly male this year, so really excited from Nathan Dial in Ontario here, and just super excited to work with Acid as far as codoms go, and just mix that into recessives, Desert Ghost, Ultramels, Clowns, just keep producing my own hats and keep going and pick up some stuff along the way. But if I had to choose, it would be Ultramel for sure.
Right, Ultramel. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I need to get me some Ultramel in my collection, man.
yeah, for
Now
sure.
I got to hit you with a hot seat question, man, because you're
Okay,
giving us that knowledge. Now we got to have a little fun.
okay,
So we love everybody.
yep,
So it's no disrespect to anybody. Much love to all the breeders in the world. But
right.
right now, who is Big Christian's favorite breeder?
Oh, so hard, so hard. I mean, obviously, Justin and Ozzy are just killing it. And that this whole industry hobby, I call it an industry, let's call it what it is, has been spurred by them and by Mark in Canada, Marcus Jane, and Will's catching up, and he's just the sleeper guy, and Will at Royal Canadian Reptiles, and he's just producing just one fire clutch after another. And I don't know. That's a tough question. I was over at Billy's at Mutation Creation a couple of weeks ago, and the stuff in his incubator that was hatching is just nuts. And I just honestly, I couldn't even limit myself. But those 5 for sure are just
Right.
inspiring people all over the
See,
world. So
I said pick one, but you said 5, and I'm
I
gonna
said
let you. I'm
5.
gonna let you get away with it. You know
Okay,
what I'm
okay,
saying?
yeah, yeah, okay,
Billy is doing amazing stuff. So is JKR and Ozzy. I've had all of them on the podcast. Amazing
yeah,
people. Just real amazing people. It's just so much talent in the ball python game.
yeah,
Now we having fun. We want to get a little knowledge. You've been breeding for years, man. Can you talk to me about incubators? Because like I said, I want people to come in here and just get knowledge and just see what different breeders are doing. So, talk to me about what incubator you're using and how do you feel about store-bought incubators versus homemade incubators? What do you think is the best route?
Well, I checked out Billy's room, and he's got some commercial incubators from a company in Alberta called Cornell's World. They look great. I don't have anything commercial. I picked up an old pop fridge that didn't work. The sliding glass door ones from, I've had this thing for 10 plus years now, and it's got. I just put a computer fan on each level, one on each side to circulate air, and some heat cable on the bottom, and plug that sucker in, and I've never had a problem with it. I paid $100 on Kijiji, which is the equivalent to your Craigslist, and $100 for that sucker. Brought it home, ripped the refrigerant out, which wasn't working anyways, and for with the thermostat, I might be in 250 into that thing, and I can put 40 clutches in there. So that's I mean, if you're on a budget, or even if you're not, I'm not too worried about what it looks like as long as it works and those eggs hatch. So
Right,
I would recommend that for sure. But if you got the money and you like how those commercial ones look, they're pretty slick looking.
right,
So
right, right.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you for that answer, man. Like I said, I appreciate that knowledge. Shout out
yeah.
to Royal Canadian Reptiles. He said
There's
my
my
man
buddy Will.
Christian.
Hi, Will. Thanks
He
for
said my
joining
man
us.
Christian is in the house. Um, I gotta ask this, man, because you've been breeding for so long, and like I said, we want to get knowledge. We want to see what different breeders are doing. Do you feel like a breeder has to breed his own rats to be successful in the game?
Not at all. No. I mean, it's if you like that aspect of it, that's a hobby unto itself. And I'm toying with the idea of starting something up here, but all these years I've just been buying them, weekly, and my rat bill gets more expensive with every year. But you know what? I got more clutches with every year, so it kind of balances itself out. And it's a major expense, but I'm already probably almost full time in the snake room, and I also have a full time job. So for me right now, if I do get into rats, I'll have to hire somebody to manage that. And there's enough of a demand that you just there's enough people around that would buy that to offset your costs as well to buy feeders. But I mean, if you can pull it off and you have a small collection and you don't mind doing the work and putting up with the smell, I think it's the way to go. But for me personally, at this stage, it's too much just for one person at the stage. So
Right. I wanted to breed rats. So I sent my wife to get me some rats, and I love
yeah,
her. She's in the chat. And so my snakes didn't eat, and I ended up having those rats for like a week.
right.
And one day I walked into my reptile room, and I just was like, "Oh my god, they really smell. They smell."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, the ASFs are better if you're allowed to. I know some municipalities or some states don't allow you to keep ASFs. ASFs have a lot less smell to them. Um, that's a whole other topic. Is what type of rats to breed. But that's the upside of ASFs is it doesn't smell nearly as bad as the regular Norwegian rats. So that's always been a factor here too. It's just I'd have to keep that in a separate building and sets, and I'd recoup those costs for sure. But it's just how much time is in your day, right? So
Right, right, right.
yeah, yeah,
Now you've been breeding for just so long. You're doing amazing stuff. I've been thinking about getting into breeding myself
yeah.
now. So I'm a new breeder. I've never bred anything. Talk to me and teach me what do you think the best months are to begin your season? When should you begin your season and when should you end your season?
So I'm pretty much like everybody else. I think I aim for November 1st for boas and ball pythons, and if I can start pairing November 1st, and I picked up an ultrasound about a year ago, which really helps because later in the season I don't want to burn out those males, so I can tell if anything's happening, and eventually you get to just good at even looking at them. You don't really even need the ultrasound to see if they're going to go or not. But just to be sure, I ultrasound, and if nothing's happening, I'll pull that male and wait again until next year. That can happen anywhere between June to August. Sometimes they reabsorb their follicles, and so that's where the ultrasound also comes in handy. And yeah, so I mean, my biggest concern is burning out those males. I don't want those males going off food for very long after at some point they're going to stop. 99% of the males are going to stop eating at some point through the breeding process. So that really dictates, and that's why the importance of a backup male. If you have room for backup males, it's always good to have a backup male, and then even a backup plan to the backup plan. So I had 3 males for a particular project, and one of them didn't get up to size because it was a picky eater. The other 2 males did, but one wouldn't lock, and the third one finally got the job done. So that one project, that one female, there was 3 males just to get those eggs finally, right? So if all of them went off food, that's when I'd basically stop breeding that female. So.
Okay. Well, I love that answer. It's good to kind of just see how every breeder is doing his and her thing now.
Right.
For new breeders out there, what do you think are some real good beginner projects?
That's going to depend on budget, of course, but I mean, there's entry level projects that are still great. That, for example, I did a pairing with Mojave, and it was a Hypo Mojave that I bought for about $200 a couple of years ago, and I put that to a genetic stripe and just made some Mojaves that are double het for genetic stripe hypo, and those are 3 old school genes that don't cost a lot of money, but you can still have some that'd be an incredible result with that pairing 3 years from now. And I really enjoy the double recessive projects. I find them really rewarding, and so for not a lot of money you can have some pretty incredible results still. If you have unlimited funds, I'd do the same thing with Desert Ghost and Clown. Or pick up something, maybe a Desert Ghost het clown and breed it to a male clown het Desert Ghost if money is no issue. So it really depends on budget, but you can have some great success with one rack and limited funds. So
right, I'm really starting to love Desert Ghost.
Yeah, Desert Ghost is just insane. It just looks better with every shed, which is uncommon with ball python morphs and in general. So that's the exciting thing about Desert Ghost.
Right. All right. Well, I gotta mix it up, man. I gotta throw a hot seat question in there, man. Okay. So I feel like you out in Canada, you crushing it, you doing your thing. So let's play a game. So I am a movie director.
Okay.
And I want to make a movie about the breeding king in Canada, Morphin Endorphins Christian. Who is playing Christian in the movie?
Oh, man.
Anybody in the world.
Anybody in the world. Well, if you ask me, I'd say maybe Bruce Willis, but my wife would probably say Jason Alexander. So I'm going with Bruce Willis. My wife would probably say Jason Alexander.
Bro, you do look like Bruce Willis.
Just the same haircut.
You squint, you do look like Bruce Willis, bro. I can see that.
A lot.
That is hilarious, man.
My wife would say Jason Alexander, who's the guy from George Costanza.
Right. I ask people that, but I don't know who would play me. You know what? I take that back. If they made a movie about, the interviewer of interviewers, Denzel Washington.
Oh, perfect. I love that guy. He's incredible. Yeah.
That's hilarious, man.
Good pick.
So I feel like you definitely a heavy hitter out there in Canada, man. So I gotta ask, what do you think, the difference with breeding is, from Canada versus the States?
That's something, and that's the great thing about the whole project is, does our climate affect breeding here as opposed to, say, southern Florida? And You know, I've learned a lot from other breeders, and I try and I try and mix it up a bit and play with my temperatures. I think you can't control barometric pressure. We get a good snowstorm up here in January, and all those ball pythons are locked right up. But you could say the same thing in California when you get a rainstorm. So I think barometric pressure in general plays a big part. As far as the temperature goes, I keep this room pretty tropical even through the winter months. I have a humidifier that I pump humidity into here just more for the boas because I can't control it with the substrate the same way as I can with ball pythons. But I don't have any windows in the room. I don't open windows up and let natural air flow through, but I do have a heat recovery ventilation system that brings in fresh air. So I think you can play around with it as much as possible. And, I think at the end of the day, there probably isn't a huge difference. Um, you know, but barometric pressure is definitely a big, and it seems up in Canada anyways. I don't compare a lot of seasons to people in the States, but, if one of us is having a bad year, most of us are having a bad year. Or if we're
Right.
having a late season, most of us are having a late season. So there is a lot to the natural weather systems that roll through here and anywhere, I believe.
Right. Now you have so much knowledge, man. So I am kind of curious. Do you have a mentor or were you self-taught?
I would say mostly self-taught. There's a group of us that compare notes up here, and I think we mentor each other. That we're always checking in with each other, running ideas by each other. I think that's. I certainly have people I look up to, like Mark Mandic, for example. I've picked his brains lots. He could be a mentor without even knowing he's a mentor. But a lot of the stuff that even my first clutch that how to breed is on his website, right? He puts that information out there. It's available to anybody. That's how I started. I there was a guy, Chris Naylor, that owned a reptile store in Barrie that I used to, first when I started, it'd be like, okay, what happens if I mix this gene with this gene, right? And he explained all the recessives. So way back for sure him, and then his successor Kirk. So it's a village, I think. I wouldn't say any one person in particular. And Brian Gundy, who's in the U.S. I incubated my first clutch by watching one of his YouTube videos. And he's a legend and certainly appreciated as well. So there's just a whole lot of people that I've learned from over the years, and try and you learn success from successful people, right? And just whatever they're doing, try and follow along and learn from other people that way. So I don't think any one person is doing it better than any. Obviously some people kill it more than others, but I mean, there's just so much knowledge and so many people willing to share it these days. So
Right. I love that, man. We with the reptile community, man, we have so many just legends, man. Just
yeah,
Tom Crutchfield,
yeah,
living legend. Brian
yeah,
Gundy, living legend. Just so
yeah.
many just live Bob
Brian
Clark,
Barchuk,
living
Bob
legend.
Clark, yeah, yeah,
It's just
absolutely,
so many legends out there that aren't afraid to get out there and share their knowledge, man. And even
right.
just you, man, I appreciate you sharing your knowledge.
Oh,
Um,
I'd
you
say it would be
you've
pretty
been
selfish to hold anything I've learned from experience back to myself. I think everybody should be able to benefit from other people's experiences, and that's certainly how I've learned a lot of things. So,
right. If I would have asked you to come on my podcast, you'd have been like, "No." I'd be like, "Oh, really?" I
not a
love this man.
chance.
I love what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Now, talk to me because a lot of people think that you're going to get in and just make $1 million day one. It's not like that. Talk to me about longevity. And I don't want to know how much money you make. Please don't say that. But I
Yeah,
want you to talk about how long you were just in the game before you actually started turning a profit. And because when you talk about that, that speaks to the longevity of the business. If you're not in it for the long haul, you're not going to make money. But
right.
talk to me about how long you were, before you actually said, okay, I could do this full time.
Well, I don't do it full time. I have a job, and I have a pretty good job. So most of the profits that come in here end up going back into the business. So I buy more animals, upgrade my stock. I have a couple of new racks coming from ARS in the next couple of months. I'm going to hopefully get some new boa racks from Freedom Breeder. So I'm always upgrading, and
Right.
then I'm going to be out of room in here soon. So I'll have to put up another building, and it pretty much goes back into
The business.
into the business. So yeah, so and just keep at it, just keep that train rolling, and I'm at the point now where I'm going to be hiring somebody, and so then you have to manage your finances to pay a wage. So, but in turn, it also produces better results, right? That'll free me up to do some more social media stuff and maybe get
Right.
on my YouTube channel that I haven't done in 2 years probably. So yeah, it just keep the machine chugging along, basically.
Right. It is a longevity game, and if you're in
Right.
it for the long haul, you're gonna make money. Now,
Right.
I gotta hit you with a hot seat, man. You gotta
Yep.
pick one, man.
Okay. Just
Where's your
one, not
heart at?
five. Okay. Where's what? Sorry.
Yeah. So where's your heart at? You got to pick one. Ball
Okay.
pythons or boas?
Oh, so hard. Say hi to my Dean, my buddy Dean there, Canadian Ball, Dean Massey. Hi, Dean. Thanks for joining us. To answer that question, honestly, I'd have to say boas. As much as I love the ball pythons and all the genetic mutations, if I just had to pick one, it probably would be boas. Just that's where my heart's been. But then I also fell in love with ball pythons. I don't know. That's a really really hard question. Um, but yeah, I'm probably going like 51% to boas and 49 to balls. So it's a tough one. That's a real hot seat question, that one.
Now, like I said, man, I want to have fun with my podcast and I want to get a little knowledge. I want breeders and people just in the hobby to be able to come here, get a little knowledge. So, talk to me about, the holdbacks. What's your procedure for picking your holdbacks? How many do you decide that you're going to keep, in each season? What's a good number of holdbacks? And just talk to me just how do you pick your holdbacks, man?
You're probably asking the wrong person. I'm a hoarder. I call them hoardbacks, not holdbacks. I keep too many, and then I have to buy more racks. And it's just what do I want? Like I said, I love the double recessive project. So I just hatched some orange dream pieds and some pieds that are all 100% het ghost. So there's a male and a female orange dream pied, and two males and two female pieds, and I'm gonna probably sell the two male pieds and keep all the females plus, so 4 out of 6, right? Just because I believe that's a great project. Um, at some point, you have to really have discipline, and I think that day is coming soon because I'll just be out of room, and that's a tough one because there's just so many, and especially when you have your fingers in a lot of projects, you want to hold back everything, right? So but you also gotta pay the bill. So it sometimes creates some hard decisions that have to be made.
Right. With you having upwards of 400 animals and you just having clutches, can you talk to me about what are some of the tips that you use to reduce slugs?
I find so I had back heat on a lot of my melamine racks back in the day, and I was having a really hard time with keeping that temperature consistent. So the tub at the bottom would be 78, but the ones at the top would be 92. So your sweet spot's in the middle there somewhere. And once I switched over to the ARS racks with the belly heat, and put different probes not just one probe on a rack, but several probes on that rack. And the Herpstat 4, for example, I could control it and I could drop those temperatures to where they really needed to be. I think the main cause for slugs in ball pythons is excessive heat. So with a gestation period of 28 days on a ball python, I'd rather drop that temperature down to 87 on the heat pad and wait an extra couple of days, as opposed to keep it at 90 and get those eggs at 27 days, but have half of them be slugs. So I really think that most of the slugs are temperature related, and of course using a male that maybe is a bit premature can hurt your chances too and increase the slug count. But I think temperature is the biggest one from my experience, anyways.
Right, temperature being the biggest one, so you just got to have that correct temperature.
Right, right. If I have 87 degrees, I get very little slugs, if any. So that's where I like it, anyways, to be held at.
Right. Even without just dealing with eggs, temperature is just so important. Even with just snakes, you gotta have that warmth. You start feeling a little chill in your reptile room, you gotta bump.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. You're good. I was like, oh, what the hell? Did we lose you?
My lights are on a timer here, so they timed out on me.
Oh, I love that. Everything in the reptile room is on a timer.
Automated.
Shout out to Canadian Balls. He said, "Glad to be here. Christian is a great guy and has a ton of knowledge." I agree. That's why we told you we had to get him.
To have you.
Can you talk to me about just what is your take on egg cutting? Do you do it? Do you frown on it? What's your take on egg cutting, and how, what's the procedure you use when you do it?
Yeah, I do. I do cut. I wish I didn't. I do. It's just hard. I mean, we wait 3-4 years for these females to finally drop eggs, and then on day 55, you see a head pip and it's egg cutting time, and it's like if I just waited an extra few days, I wouldn't have to worry if that's going to make it out of the egg or not. And I second guess myself when I cut eggs, but 99 times out of 100, it all works out fine. And then that one time it doesn't work out fine, is that because I cut the egg, or was there something wrong with that baby to begin with and it wouldn't have made it out anyways? So all that to say, yeah, I cut eggs at once I see the first pip and it's day 55. If it's day 52 and I get an early one, I'll usually leave it and wait for the other ones to pip as well, because they may not all be as mature as the first one.
Right. Well, I love that you're giving us that knowledge, man. You definitely crushing it in the game. So keep doing it, man. We got our eyes on you.
All right.
Now I gotta hit you with a hot seat question.
Yeah.
I like to ask people this, and just because I think it's fun. So let's play a game.
Okay.
A lot of you breeders, I like to give y'all store names. Of course, I feel like JKR is Louis Vuitton. Ozzy Boys is, he's like a Gucci. Mutation Creation, he's like a Prada.
Yeah.
So what Morph Endorphins? If you were a designer store, for your snakes, what's the name of the store? Where am I shopping at? Yeah, there it is. Where am I shopping at if I shop with Morph Endorphins?
Oh, I'm probably a Reebok, or maybe even a Spalding. I don't know. Lots of people have better stuff than I have. I don't know. It's just I just like to have fun with it.
You hired a Reebok, brother. I feel like I'm gonna give you what I feel. I feel like you coach level, bro. You coach, you design.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, well, you know what? Even a broken clock is right twice a day, I always say. If you pair up enough snakes, you're going to get some good stuff coming out of them. And if you choose wisely and you pick the right mutations, and there's a lot of stuff here that goes wrong that never makes it to Instagram, but not that I'm withholding it. It's just you always post the best stuff up there, right? So Dean says Under Armour. So thanks, Dean.
Man, that's Go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have fun with it and see where it takes me. So,
you know what? At the end of the day, that's what it's about, man.
Right.
Get into the hobby. You want to make money, but if you're not having fun while you're doing it, you're wasting your time.
Right. Yeah. and the community is what makes it just as fun. It's fun to see those eggs pipping and cut an egg, or you get a boa litter and you see all the different stuff in there. But if you don't have anyone to share that with that shares your excitement, then it's that takes a lot of the fun out of it. And the expos we go to, and we a bunch of us drove down to Tinley to that one show that was canceled. We got an hour outside of Tinley, and the show was canceled. But we had a great time anyways, and it's the people that make it a lot of fun. So some of my best friends are in the community, so it's definitely fun. All right.
I agree with you, man. That's what it's about, just having fun and that camaraderie.
Yeah.
So I got to hit you with another question, man. Hot
Okay.
seat question.
Okay.
What do you feel is the best substrate? Paper towels or actual bedding?
Yeah, I'm actual betting all the way for sure. For my boas, I'll use aspen, and for the ball pythons, I use cocoa husk. So, and that's
Okay.
I've tried everything. I've used paper towels, I've used newspaper, and that's finally what I've decided to work with, and I think I get the best results with those two. So,
Right, right, right. I shout out to whoever use paper towels. Do what you want. It's your animals. No,
yeah,
we don't do no dissing over here. But my favorite substrate is Reptichip.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
It's
love that. I
great.
just love that.
Yeah, yeah. It's good. It's good. And it
Right,
doesn't
right,
have the
right now.
dust that some of the products do. And when I switched over to Reptichip, I my allergies. I have allergies, and the dust was minimized, and my allergies. I can actually breathe in here again. So it's Reptichip all the way for sure for the ball pythons.
Right, right, right. I definitely agree with you. Now, this we got to talk about this, man. Being in the hobby, I feel like you made it when you have scammers. And what I say by that is, have you yet, you've been in the game 10 plus years. Have you come across scammers that have stolen your pics off of IG? And if so, how do you deal with it?
I have, yeah. There was a group in Arizona, a reptile group, and somebody messaged me from that group. They were using one of my lightning pieds in that picture, and as a for sale item, and they recognized it from my page, and they messaged me. So I messaged the group. I think they had already messaged the group administration, and yeah. So I just messaged the group, and I don't like anybody getting scammed. I'd hate to be the person that sent a deposit on that animal, and it's frustrating when there's people that are willing to take advantage of people like that. But but on the other hand, it's flattering when they use your pictures. I guess would be the upside of that. But yeah, I don't want to see anybody get scammed, and it's frustrating to know there's people out there like that. But
To to me, that's when you made it. When somebody thinks high
yeah,
enough of your snake picture to steal them, oh, you big time, baby.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess.
Now, I want you to inspire because, like I said, I want people to come here and get knowledge and be inspired. I want you to inspire some of the new breeders and talk to me. You've been doing this for 10 plus years, so I don't know if you really remember it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you remember
Oh,
your first sale? And if you do, can you talk to me about that feeling of just, hey, I'm pursuing my dream. This is my first sale. How did it feel making that first sale?
oh, well, I don't know that I actually remember my first sale. I remember my first big sale, and it was nerve-wracking, and I had put so much into this at this point, and it was a couple of Moonglow boas. It was probably 8 or 9 years ago, and I had put a lot of work into this even at that stage, and the e-transfer when came through, and it was a good chunk of change back then, and my wife just couldn't believe it. Right? She's like, I just can't believe that happened, and so that was extremely rewarding when that happened, because it was kind of like the picture you talked about when people use your pictures for scams. It's like it kind of makes you feel like you've made it when people are willing to give up their hard-earned money to buy something you've produced, and that's extremely flattering, and made everything feel worthwhile at that point. And then I had to take them to a shipping company, and the guy wasn't home at the time. He says, "Yeah, just put them in the garage," and I'm like, put them in the garage, man. I can't. These things are like worth several $1,000s. I can't just leave them in the garage. But anyways, it all worked out, and the boas arrived safely, and it was extremely gratifying.
Right. That's what it's about,
Yeah,
man. Just chasing your dream.
right.
Do you currently have a morph market right now?
I have one animal on Morph Market, which I actually decided to keep. So I do have an account. I got to start updating that. This is the first year I've actually shipped to the U.S. because I'm in Toronto. I've shipped 4 or 5 times down there this year, so I got to update that and hopefully send some more animals down. And I've got one, like I said, one animal. It's a super banana clown, and then I bred it, and he went off food for. So it's basically I'm gonna keep him until he's healthy and ready to go, and I might just keep him anyways. So
Right. How do and this is, some information for the new breeders.
yeah.
Is there a way to kind of like filter through people that ain't gonna buy no snakes on Morph Market, if that makes sense?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think everybody, I don't know if you can pick them out of a crowd. I don't. I just respond to everybody, and when people don't buy something, I don't sweat it. I know that's part of the game, and there's a lot of tire kickers, and people are maybe they're genuinely interested, and somewhere along the way something happens in their life circumstances, and they're unable to follow through, but yeah, I don't take it personally. I just try and make time for everybody. So, oh, I see a comment. Can I
Right.
show that super banana clown? Yeah, I can actually. So, I
Hold
don't
on,
know
let
if
me
you
put
can.
you on the solo. Oh, that is gorgeous.
It's hard to see. There's a lot of purples in there. I don't know if they're showing up on the camera, but
Oh, that is gorgeous.
thank you.
Excellent comment, Nikki. We appreciate you. Excellent comment.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Nikki.
much. Oh man, I'm jealous, man. Now I know you're very busy, and I'm not really sure of the herping scene out in Canada. But if you could herp, I don't know if you do go herping, but if you could herp with anybody in the world and go any place and herp, who would it be and where would it be?
Oh, well, I'd probably get down to Arizona, look for some rattlesnakes with Dave Grohl for the
Okay,
Foo Fighters.
okay.
I don't know if he's into herping, but Dave's a pretty cool guy. I don't. I think he'd be into that, and then we'd go get some barbecue afterwards. I think.
Right. I love that. I love that answer. I'm gonna have to look him up
Yeah, Dave
now.
Grohl from the Foo
For
Fighters. Yeah,
that's what's up, man. You
I
should
think
be.
he'd be
We're
up
gonna have
for
to see if
that.
we can make. We're gonna see if we have to make that happen, man.
Yeah.
Now, for the new breeders out there that are just getting into the game, you know, Christian's been doing it for a long time, and something that I want him to talk about is, he has such a vast collection. Before you jump just right into the game, you have to think about it, because when you start having those clutches, you can have so many hatchlings, and that gets expensive to feed those
Yeah, it
babies.
does.
So I want you to talk to me, like, during your season, how many hatchlings do you have on hand at just any given time?
Oh well, I kept about 100 last year back, so 100 just for myself, and then another. I don't know. I guess I did about 70 clutches last season and probably 50 this season, but it's always rotating. It seems to last here all season long, but at any given time, I've got probably 4 or 5 hatchling racks full. Now, when those ARS racks show up, I'll probably empty out, a good, there'll be 80 that'll be emptied of holdbacks. So then I'll probably have 3. So that'll be about 150, I guess. So, and then I go to an expo and sell a bunch, or some sell online, and then but I've still got another half a dozen clutches to hatch between now and November. So yeah, it's kind of a rolling target.
Yeah. So if you are thinking about getting into the breeding game, just make sure you just do that research, because
Right.
when you start having those clutches, you're going to have a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah, and that can be frustrating. Some won't take rats right away. You want to start this, maybe start them on mice, and some don't eat and some do eat. But you definitely want to have a hatchling rack ready to go. If you've got, say, in your first season you have 10 clutches. That's potentially 70 babies, right? So the racks I use are 48. So you're going to need more than one rack if you're going to have 10 clutches, right? So yeah, you want to be prepared, because you don't want to be rushing around looking for that stuff if you've got babies on the ground already.
Right. Again, like I said, man, I feel like you're out in Canada crushing it. Are you working on a Morph Endorphins custom morph?
I don't have any particular, I don't have any new genes that have popped up that I know of. I have a couple of dinker projects, but I just hatched some that actually it turns out it's nothing terribly unique. I got a couple more projects that might pan out, maybe not, but I just keep working those clowns and pieds and ultramels and mixing them all together. And I don't think there's anything here I'm doing that someone somewhere else isn't already doing. But I'm not trying to, not going to be doing too many worlds first. Although I actually may have a collection world first hatching on Saturday, but that's pretty rare occasions. So when that actually happens here, so yeah, just going with the flow and doing the stuff I'm interested in, pretty much.
I feel like, again, man, we've done this podcast. We've almost went an hour. It was definitely fun. I got a couple more questions, man.
Yeah.
So hot seat question, man. When you come to the States, man, and if you were to do a facility tour, where are you going?
Oh, it's got to be Justin's. Got to be Justin's for sure.
You going to
Yeah, that's probably not a very original answer, but I mean, who wouldn't jump at the opportunity to go have a look through his racks?
Right,
for sure.
right.
Yeah.
I think that's $1 million facility, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And the stuff that it just blows my mind. The stuff that comes out of there, it's just incredible.
Right,
and Ozzy
right
too.
now,
Ozzy would be up there too.
Right. Ozzy, man, that's a good friend of mine. Good guy. Definitely a great supporter of the channel. So talk to me about a dream animal, man. If that's not in your collection, if you could have any animal in the world, or any morph, just a morph that is your dream morph?
I got a few, I think, but I just saw Justin posted that the sunset pied, and then somebody else posted up an ultramel sunset. So if you could put all three of those genes together, I think that'd be something incredible. The ultramel sunset piebald would be mind blowing, I think, but that's still several years away. But for sure, I think sunset seems to be picking up a lot of steam this year, and I wish I'd gotten in on that project. But and then the lightning pied stuff. The lightning pied stuff is incredible, and I'd like to see I'd like to see it go darker. I think there's a lot of stuff you could do with lightning that could make that even darker, and that contrast between the blacks and the whites, I think would be you can always play around and make something that's that incredible looking look even better, I think. So
Right. Well, man, again, this was an amazing podcast. We got some knowledge. We had a little bit of fun. Before we go, I got to end it on a hot seat question, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna see how honest you're gonna be. So, so you have a lot of clutches. You're crushing it. You have a lot of animals. We get that you have a lot of clutches. So, how many bites? How many times do you get bit when you're pulling eggs? I'm gonna see if you're honest.
When I'm pulling eggs from the mother, or when I've never actually been bit by a mother when pulling eggs. I think because I've got my guard up. It's when you least expect it, and you're feeding, and you open these bins up, and they just come flying out at you. That's when I get bit. But they get your fingers if you don't use a hook on that. But honestly, to be 100% truthful, I've never been bit when taking a mom off a pile of eggs before. So I know now that I've said that, the next clutch I pull is gonna probably get me. So
I I love that, man.
That's
So
how it works.
again, you guys, please, everybody in the chat, thank you for watching. Please make sure you go over and just check out Morph Endorphins. They on Instagram, crushing the game. Amazing pictures, man. Mr. Christian,
Thanks,
I
Derek.
appreciate you for doing my
I,
podcast.
I
Um,
appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
you dropped some fire knowledge on us. We had some fun with a few hot seat questions. It was definitely a fun podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate you having me. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, man. Before we go, we're gonna do some shout outs. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Canadian Balls, Dean Massey, Benjamin, Doug, Nikki, my wife. Let's see. I mean, we have so many people in the chat. Just thank you for watching. DG's Reptiles. Um, let's see, just tons of people. We had Will in here, so shout out to Royal Canadian Reptiles. We have My Animal House, Iron Dog, Ball Python Love, Reese's Pythons, Kurtwood, just a genetic
Awesome.
institution, Foster
Foster
Bailey.
Bailey.
Uh,
Yep.
so shout out to Foster Bailey. I definitely want to get him on here eventually.
Yeah.
Um, just everybody in the community, man. Go subscribe to their YouTube. Go check them out on Instagram. That's what it's about, man. Camaraderie, showing love. That's what we here. That's what we here doing. So, um, we getting ready to go out of here, man. And before we leave, make sure you check out Venom-Proof Cages. Go show Ozzy boys some love. We're getting ready to go backstage. I'm gonna say thank you, so don't go anywhere. You
Okay.
guys, make sure you tune in Sunday. I am bringing Liza's Lizards to the podcast. Real dope YouTubers. So just make sure you check that out. And we out of here, you guys.
All right. Good
This
night,
is Big
everybody. Thanks
Reptile
for
Talk.
watching.
Peace.